A Polish aristocrat born in Cape Town, Agata Karolina had the choice to live and work anywhere. She chose South Africa and a career as a self-made creator of custom perfumes to showcase all of Africa.
I grew up with a family that were producing tinctures and had apothecaries for the last 200 years in Poland. And from there, I was really interested in smell actually before I realized it. I just spent my life really enjoying fragrances. And a lot of travels that I used to do as a kid and with my family in general were really connected with smell. The first one being when we were in Cairo when I was 8 years old with my mum. And I remember one of the smells of the souks being so incredibly important, and it's so visceral still till today. And that was something that really got me interested in working with smells. I'm inspired every day. It's a mix of people and of places. I really like people and being around them, but I also sometimes get overwhelmed. And I find nature to be a very big solace for me. It's a big part of why I moved back to South Africa and why I spend a lot of my time traveling. There's always a mix between city, people, and then also escaping into nature and finding that harmonious balance between both sides. And that's actually where I find most of my inspiration.
Agata's perfumes are a geographic exploration of scent.
My sense of smell is very particular. I smell everything, but my specific interests and how I've honed my nose to work is more on a natural perspective. So I pay a lot of attention to the smells of nature, to what's happening in the air around me and what's happening with plants and how that really combines with people and the way that we actually all smell. I feel that to really grasp the essence of a place and of a person, you really have to experience it. So that's why my particular methodology in working is, in fact, to travel to the places that I'm creating the fragrance of. Because that way, it's not only just about, smelling a plant or meeting a person or eating a food. It really is a combination of how that place makes you feel. Like, how is it that the smell of a rose geranium makes you feel, or the smell of ginger, or a pepper? Like, those aren't just fragrances, they actually are emotive connections as much as they are a pleasant smell. So it's finding how those kind of combinations of things together and the story which they're connected to and that memory which you feel about it, it's also translating that.
Smell offers the most powerful connection with memory, time and place, a key to unlocking a full sensory experience.
Creating a scent for an individual versus creating it for a space or a place is a vastly different task for numerous reasons. One of them is that when you're dealing with a person from a chemistry side, it's many, many more ingredients which you're using to create that. You have different impacts. So skin, for instance, about someone's age, their race, their sex. The food that they eat is very great impact onto the way that different smells behave with our bodies. So when you're designing a fragrance for someone to wear, you really need to consider a multitude of factors of what is actually going to happen. When you're creating a scent for a space, on the other hand, you have to really consider not only the space itself, the people that live within it or are experiencing it, as much as the setting where it actually is. I also need to consider very often when I'm working, how does the smell move in space? I want it to be something that is very delicate, that it almost dances around in the air around you, and it's something you kind of pick up on the wind, which is something that I prefer more. I don't personally like it when a place is stagnant with a fragrance. I like it when it feels like the air is moving around you all the time. I source my ingredients from all over the world, but particularly I do focus on sourcing from Africa. We work specifically with fully sustainable farmers, and we're making sure that all of our ingredients are being farmed in a way which is fully sustainable and biodynamic as far as possible. And the reason for this is it's incredibly important for me that our products are created in a vertical manner. So we don't just buy from a supplier without understanding where the ingredients are coming from, who are farming them, and also are they doing it in the correct way. And making sure that these farming methods are done correctly and that the plants which we're working with will continue to be here for the future is highly important to me.
Agata recently collaborated with a neuroscientist to explore how certain oils affect how we wake, realign, focus, or rest. And it's been put into practice here.
Future Found Sanctuary is a wellness retreat. This particular villa, Maison Noire, has a circular structure, being a wellness retreat, this is where you need to come and de-stress, decompress, unwind from the daily stresses and strains. So with our opening doors and mountain backdrop and surrounded by trees and greenery, this is what our space does, and that was the aim of it, and I think it does it really well. Agata is an amazing human being. We're so happy to have collaborated with her. Her scents just create those feelings of peace and rest and relaxation. And everyone that has smelt the fragrance mentions its uniqueness. And the fact that she's tapped into the local fynbos makes it unique to South Africa, unique to the Western Cape, and particularly unique to our property. So she really has come up with something special.
The Future Found Sanctuary is a project which is a very important project that I've been working on for the last 2 years. And I was brought on by Jim Brett, the owner, to create fragrances which had purpose. So instead of doing it from, let's say, a more beauty perspective in terms of fragrancing your body, it's truly about fragrancing space and how that actually affects the body. It's really important to me when designing a fragrance for a space or for an interior that we actually complement the fragrances which are currently existing in nature. Scent is incredibly important in spaces because I think what we've realized, especially over the last 2 years, is that the more time we spend in a place, we actually are much more aware of our surroundings. And having scent in a space allows us to either calm ourselves, to relax, and be more present. The Future Found fragrances we created focusing on 4 different indigenous plants which are growing on the property itself. And I wanted to create scents which are actually grounded in the gardens. So when you're in the space, in the sanctuary, moving between the villas, you're not only experiencing the fragrances in the spaces, in the spa, but also in the gardens themselves and how they're reacting to the body, to nature consistently throughout the day. So for Rise, the fragrance we decided to use is called the Cape Snowbush. For Realign, we are using the Rose Geranium. For the Reflect scent, we're using Impepo, which is known as Helichrysum petiolare. And that scent is very much used traditionally by Khoisan, which they're using for moments of spiritual connection with ancestors. They burn it in their huts to call ancestors into their dreams. And the very last fragrance is Rest. And for the Rest, we are using African wormwood. So that is, again, bringing on peacefulness, quietening down the body, and allowing you to move into sleep.
To avoid impacting her work, Agata wears no perfume during the week, a small sacrifice for a greater cause.
I want to put Africa on the map as a serious competitor globally in terms of fragrance creation. No one really considers Africa as a player for not only just creating a perfume as a final product, but actually for the ingredients that we have here. And since so much of the indigenous plants which we have across the continent are so intricate and completely different from anything that's growing anywhere else in the world and has ever been used en masse and is quite new actually in terms of being utilized as an ingredient, my ambition basically is first and foremost to put Africa as a continent on the map for having incredible fragrance, and on top of that, hopefully put myself on the map globally for being Africa's best perfumer.
The potential for our continent to benefit from this one woman's passion for perfume seems infinite. Get more of the Insider Essay online. Follow, connect, engage, and be inspired to live better with the Insider Essay. Watch the show Monday evenings at 6. Repeat Saturday at 1 on S3.